You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. That was Iggy Pop, track called Success. Then we had the sensational Alex Harvey Band. That track was called Faye Feeler. Oh, that's a great song. I've gone all dried up in my throat. Hold on.
Dead air.
Oh, man. That was weird. I just seized up. I think it was smelling that guitar. The one the cat had a lag on. That's better. We have Ryan Adams in the studio.
I probably smell like cat pee.
Is it you?
No, I don't know.
No, it was before you got in here, man. How are you?
Good. My smell arrived before me.
You smell good. Did you have a shower this morning? Be honest.
I did, but I think you're smelling like my witchy oil vibe. But you smell good as well.
I had a shower too. I normally have like one a week, literally. I'm not trying to save water. I don't like showering every day.
Well, your body makes that oil for your skin and your hair that's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be there.
Yeah, it is. And I put some stuff on my hair. I put this oil on my hair after I wash it, and I got this new perfume, had a French name. Can you smell it?
Yes.
You smell good too. What do you put on after your shower? Was it a shower or a bath?
It depends. I sometimes will take a bath or a shower. It just really depends on the day. Then I put this oil that I've had made for the last 5 or 6 years, made for me by this really fantastic witch.
Yeah. What is it, like patchouli oil with a bunch of other stuff?
Yeah, it's got some like raw oak moss and all different kinds of stuff, and so it leaves that vibe. I think patchouli is the closest thing people would
That
think.
was the hippie one, right? Patchouli oil.
I guess so.
You've added some witchery to yours.
Yeah, I think I think patchouli is the closest thing it smells like.
You know who I had on the show last week?
Who?
Was Arthur Brown.
What was that like?
Do you know who he is? Might be, well, it's definitely, he had one hit. I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire. Ever heard that song?
No.
Thanks for making me look stupid.
No.
It's a great song. It was a big hit in the 60s, and he's like this old hippie guy. Why did his name come up? Why did I bring his name up?
Because of witchy stuff. Was he dressed like Gandalf when he came in here?
He had a silver jacket on.
Yes.
A silver jacket. He's like 6'3". He's really tall and skinny.
For everyone out there, I'm also 6'3", so just want to put that out there.
He looked kind of similar.
Thank you.
He was an older version of you. And he was fantastic. And
is he pagan?
He looked more like Fagin than pagan.
Right on.
But he was great. He was great.
Do you like Steely Dan?
Not a lot of it. Some of it. I'll tell you what I did like. I like the remember them classic albums where they make what was the big album of theirs? It was a woman. Asia.
Yeah, when the making of.
Yeah, I love them.
That making of is incredible.
For them, yeah. I didn't like them before that, but after watching that, I kind of dug them.
They're so weird.
Yeah.
Because you really like look at them and you go like, wow, these guys are like truly out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that probably changed a lot of people's minds about them because no one really knows. I don't think people really knew what they were. They just knew like, oh, there's this band Steely Dan.
Yeah, I mean, they had a bunch of hits. I'm not a big fan of that one dude's voice who went on to be a solo career.
What, from Steely Dan?
Back on the streets. What's his name?
Oh, you're talking about Michael McDonald?
Yeah.
Well, he sung on Peg.
But he was in...
He was in the Doobie Brothers.
But was he in Steely Dan for 10 minutes?
So they got him to sing backup on that song Peg,
Ah.
and they drove him crazy. They made him do like every interval. Like if you and me were playing a bar chord, they made him play like every note so that his voice fanned out to be like every note.
Yeah.
So he would just have to somehow train his mind in between takes to do these. That's the part of that whole making of that where it goes into the psychotic, like how many hours did that take?
Yeah.
And then now if you ever see Michael McDonald now, we all know why he has completely white hair and beard.
Yeah.
He's gone Gandalf because of Steely Dan.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of his voice. For some reason, his voice doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, it got its own like it's like I'm on the beach.
Yeah. It's
wearing
like
some shorts.
yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine if he sung like Submission?
Or No Feelings.
Submission.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be pretty amazing. Actually, I would pay a lot of money to hear him sing some of those songs. Maybe you could get him to be in the Professionals. That would be amazing.
No, I would never do it.
That would be so wrong, though.
I'll tell you, I would like to do a record with, and I was talking about this last week. Is the bloke Jethro Tull, Ian Anderson,
Yeah.
me, Paul Cook, and Glenn Matlock to do a record with Ian Anderson.
Whoa.
I think that would be fantastic. Just to see what had happened. No one's got any songs. We just sit in a room and see what comes up. You know, we can all wear green tights.
Do you think a flutist would come up?
Got to have a flute in it. Got to have a flute.
So you're down with the flute?
Oh, absolutely.
Whoa. I have this thing where I think to myself, I don't like when I hear a flute with like any kind of, like rock and roll or contemporary music. I always think my first instinct is like my body reacts in this way, like it's having an allergic reaction, and then my mind just goes, why? But I understand in the context of Jethro Tull why, because they're Jethro Tull,
Well, yeah, when I was 20, a flute, I wanted to set fire to him when I heard a flute. It was like the worst. But then,
setting fire to a flute would be really hard.
Well, it wouldn't. Shouldn't be that hard.
Not the new ones. Or the new ones?
Plastic, the new ones? I thought they was always
I thought
wooden.
they were silver.
You know what? You could be onto something.
I think there's no. Wait.
Well, I set fire to Jethro Tull then. Forget the flute. Him. Set fire to his tights.
We should just record what it sounds like if Jethro Tull is on fire.
Oh.
That would be pretty great. I mean, not for them, but you put a couple compressors on that. A little bit of echo on the right speaker. I think might have.
I think we could do that, couldn't we? Let's try that. Put a Tull track on a bunch of echo.
Put it through an Echoplex.
Go on in. and put some echo on here, yeah.
This is like the best radio moment of all time.
This is an experiment.
Oh, God.
Sounded pretty good to me.
I liked it. It's a hit.
It's like upped it a little bit.
I felt the fire.
That was good, man. I got rid of that little thing in my throat anyway. So what you up to? You got a box set coming out?
Yeah.
You don't want to talk about it?
No, I do, for sure. I made a record, and then I made way too many songs, or not enough. But I made a lot of songs, and so we did the regular record, and then I wanted to do singles with B-sides, because B-sides are cool, and they're weird, and there was enough left over to probably do many records and B-sides. So I was like, let's just do it. For every song on the record, make it a single. And then finally, with some persistence, the people around me who usually protect me from bad ideas, which sounds like a full-time job, and it is, they all were like, okay, well, what do we put it in? And I was like, well, we put it in we have to put it in some kind of like a 60s or 70s looking action set, like that folds out, and like you could move the characters around and put a arcade game in there and hide stuff so people have to find it, and put some secret codes, and it's just for people. This is for people who don't get out much.
When you write. Did you write songs and then say, let's use that as a B-side, or was you writing the songs for B-sides?
Well, I think B-sides, I think that the B-side is where you get to, I love A-sides, but B-sides is where sometimes you really get to be who you are.
Yeah.
And they become like A-sides to your fans. So I love the idea of both. I get it. It's like if we did like if Set Jethro Tull on Fire is
Was
our
the B's,
A-side,
yeah.
if it was our A-side,
Yeah.
then imagine what our B-side could be.
We could be putting the fire out on the B-side,
Yeah.
letting him live. Then electrocute him.
Maybe it's like a little jazz number called Too Much Butter.
There you go.
A little,
Yeah, baby.
or actually maybe we should call it like Little Bit of Butter.
Yeah.
A little bit of butter.
Can you dig it?
Can you put it in the pan?
Yeah.
A little bit of butter.
That's it. Fry it up.
Baby, don't you understand?
Yeah.
See, and then everyone would go like, and then we go to play the show, and it's like, little bit of butter, play a little bit of butter. It's so B-sides. I feel like that's where it's really where you get to cut loose.
Yeah. So people don't really make 45s anymore. So if you
You're telling me.
right? Do you release singles like on iTunes?
I do it anyway.
And there's a B-side.
So like I have my own label.
Yeah.
It's called Paxam, and I have a studio. It's the same name. It's Sunset Sound. It's my own part of Sunset, and a bunch of analog equipment in there, and a tape machine, and that's how we do it.
You have a room in there.
I have a whole studio in there with all this analog stuff in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. We did a thing there with Cheap Trick.
Mm.
My manager's half brother owns it.
Whoa.
And I've probably walked in it because I got the old tour about 4 months ago.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I heard that you walked through my studio. Did you see the black and white tiled floor? And everything looked really ancient and old, and there was a lot of like unnecessary bats hanging from the ceiling and stuff.
I don't remember the bats. Maybe they didn't let me in there.
Okay, well, we'll get you in there. It's easy.
I'd love to come in and jam.
Well, you're overqualified. I will rip the pick guard off of any of my guitars if you want to come over. But so I do it because I think to myself, well, I just love records. I fetishize them. Like I look for them, and to own a record I've really wanted is like a huge, big deal for me. And going to a record shop feels right to me.
Yeah.
And seeing it, and if I make a song, it doesn't really feel real. Like it doesn't really feel like it belongs to the world yet, until I look at it and go, there it is. It's on this thing, and it's on vinyl.
Yeah.
And it's always been that way because my first records were records.
Yeah.
And even cassettes felt valid, you know?
Yeah.
Because it exists. And then I think to myself, and I still have my records and cassettes and stuff, and I mean the ones that my parents didn't burn or whatever, like the ones I could really save. And I always think there's this funny scenario that plays out in my head that I imagine is going to be the thing of why records should be made, and I'll tell it to you now. So in a world where stuff is virtual, that was beautiful.
Sorry.
No, that was there's the thing that was in your throat.
That was Jethro.
You can't
Jethro.
You can't pass down. You can't say like, yeah, if you have kids or you know like down the road, there's someone that you care about and they're younger and you want to pass your stuff off. You can't say to them, you're like Roger.
That's your kid's name?
No, I don't have a kid, but I'm just saying, and I don't think
Never call him Roger.
I
He'll kill you.
Yeah, Roger that. That would be pretty cool.
That's his last name.
The middle name.
Roger that.
Yeah, but no, but I'd say like, well, it's it's time now. You've come of age for me to pass down. I would like to pass down, this stream of this Professionals album.
Right.
And then you just open your hand and there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna work. It doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah.
But they'll want the guitars. They'll want the records.
But
because there's something about it.
Yeah, there's definitely something about it. But it's a different era, and most. I like the convenience of driving along. You hear a song, you Shazam it, and then you buy it straight there on iTunes, and you got it. I like that element of it. But I also like when I was 16, when I'd get albums, big album covers, you put the album on and you stare at the album cover for 2 hours.
Yeah, man, because they're sexy.
I get that. And I don't know if young people these days have got the time. They've got no attention span, young people. Like
Yeah.
young people.
But I totally understand that. I think that I'm going to live in a world of plausible deniability where I just somehow go to the record store and there's all these other weirdos at the record store and they're cool and some of them might play music.
Yeah.
And then you might meet someone and they're awesome and you might start some weird band and there's a culture I love it. I've never met anybody on Shazam that I could start a band with.
Yeah.
But I do understand what it
Yeah.
is. I think I know what Shazam is. Isn't that like how you order food if you don't want to go out?
No, it's if you hear a song, you press. It's an app.
No wonder it's not working.
You know
I've been
what it is.
starving for
you
like
know, you're
a
pulling
month.
my leg. Oh,
Virtually pulling your leg.
I was talking to someone last week, doing an interview, and I said, this is what the deal was when I was 15, 16. And I know there's some other people who can relate to this. You had two outlets for music. You had Top of the Pops.
Gross.
You had Old Grey Whistle Test.
Awesome.
That was it. And then you had the New Musical Express. You had the Melody Maker, the Record Mirror. That was about it. And then gigs. And that was all you had to work with. No one had cameras back then either.
Yeah, but I mean, but what's great is, you know, there were bands. I mean, in America it was very different, but there were bands like Joy Division played on those shows, and you had like, and then weird prog, a lot of prog bands.
There's nothing wrong with it.
No, totally.
But that was it. That was it.
I think we had like American Bandstand, and then you would get like a Barbara Mandrell special where she would play all the instruments and run around.
Well, you had that other show in New York, the guy who had all the bands on. What was his name in New York in the early 70s? Ed Sullivan? No, not Ed Sullivan. It was like, you know,
early 70s.
all the rock bands used to go on it. Don Kirshner.
Right.
Rock show.
And then SNL started doing it, I guess, a little bit, and people started, and then Letterman, and yeah. You know what's the funny thing is the show that changed my whole scene that I still can't believe I was able to find on television growing up. On the television I had in my bedroom was a show called Night Flight. And Night Flight was bizarre. They would play like bad B movies. They would play like, you know, Sonic Youth and Social Distortion videos, or Voivod, or they'd do a special on underground metal, and it'd be like, what? And it would always be something different, always be something really crazy, musically or otherwise. And then I never found out what happened to Night Flight, because that's the same channel that had like Airwolf on it, which, I mean, for anyone else that grew up near the Green, Airwolf is really funny. And
Airwolf?
Like, yeah, it's like a show about this like helicopter that you're supposed to get sentimental about somehow. Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Seriously, it's like somebody watched Blue Thunder while they were having some kind of an emotional breakdown.
Yeah.
And they went like, man, I love Blue Thunder. And then they just made a whole show called Airwolf where they like fetishize about this helicopter.
What year was this made?
This was the 80s.
That's
man.
a cocaine. That's what that was.
I was about to say, like, they probably couldn't, they had a cold for a long time.
You know, when you do a lot of blow, you start saying you love someone to a complete stranger. Have you ever been there?
I had the
4 a.m, some complete stranger. I love you, man.
It always worked differently for me. It always,
I love you. No, I really do.
I just would stay in the studio longer. I could just stay in for 40 hours.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was recording when I did drugs, where I did a whole session until the engineers could no longer, like,
Keep up,
physically.
yeah.
So they changed over to the day engineers, who then recorded me all the next day, and then changed over to the night engineers. And then it got to 3 a.m. that morning, and then I was like, I feel good. I feel good about it. And I went home, and then I remember woke up the next day, and I was like, wow, what did I do? And they're like, well, you did like a side and a half of an album.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that stuff worked.
Wow.
Yeah, but it definitely on the long term is not a good idea. Maybe in the short term, not a good idea either.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could just go to Starbucks or whatever.
Well, I don't think that'd keep you up. Well, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe. I mean, not in the same way.
You can't beat some good blow. That's for sure. We're going to play you right now. What track we playing?
What a segue.
Do You Still Love Me?
You talking to me? I don't.
He's been doing blow.
Jonesy's Jukebox, KLOS, Ryan Adams, Do You Still Love Me? Take it away.
Jonesy's Juke.
You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. That was Free, Little Bit of Love. Fleetwood Mac, Man of the World. Original Fleetwood Mac with Peter Green on the axe. And then we had Ryan Adams, Do You Still Love Me? New album, Prisoner. Don't you have a box set too?
Yeah, it's called the same thing.
That is what it is.
Well, no, there's just like
There's an album and then there's a box set.
yeah, it's like the box set is like the record plus 17 songs, or it says 17 songs, but there's more in there. Just people don't know how they're in there yet. They'll find out if they get it, and then the record is just the regular record.
What do you think about? Because you seem more like by what we're talking about, like a purist type of musician, artist. What's your feeling of when you do shows? People have got their phones filming you. Does that bug you or not?
I get it. I mean, if I go see a show and I'm having a moment, I'm like, wow, and I maybe want to take a cool photograph or capture a moment of it. I think I get it. Some people I watch them, or I'll see them periodically through the show because the shows be like 2 hours long. Because I have all these records, so I've got to cover a bunch of ground, and also I got nothing else to do for that 2 hours but play. So, but I'll see someone, and at some point I'll go like, I'll think to myself, I'll go, man, he's been holding that phone for so long, and it's just a phone the whole time. And then I'm thinking, like, how did he get his battery to last that long? Like, what is going on? But so yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I like to be. If I see a show, I like to be on an edible or something so that I can't even really operate my phone. So I'm just like, I can't. I'm like just hyper focused on the music.
You want to be in the moment. That's the whole thing about going to a rock concert or any show, is you want to be in the moment. Why are you filming it when you're not paying attention? And no, you're not going to look at it when you get home later anyway. It looks like crap and it sounds like crap. I don't get why people just don't want to be in the moment at a show or some kind of event that you're being entertained at.
They don't know what they're missing.
They don't.
I mean,
Do I sound like an old fart?
no, you know what it is? It's like this. It's fun. That's the phone. That's the telephone. You remember waiting for a call? Remember waiting by the telephone? What a drag that was. But at the same time, that might have been when
For
you
the dealer, yeah. That was a real drag.
yeah, but you sit there and you're playing guitar and you might come up with this badass riff.
Yeah.
Or write some lyrics or sketch something out or have an idea.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that some of that lost time, because like there's so much information on a phone. I think that now people consider the phone to be part of their memory.
Mm-hmm.
It operates as part of your. You're not just just riffing off your mind, what's on the top of your mind anymore, or remembering things. It's like that's become.
It's the second thing you do. You see a situation, the next thing you do is get your phone out and want to film it. It's like normal to do that.
Well, I mean, if I was ever asked to be the CEO of Apple, what I would
You'd be in heaven.
no, what I would do is all iPhones would come with a cat, a rescue cat, and then you would never mess with your phone. You would mess with your phone like only half the time. You'd only use it to try to Shazam a pizza to your house because you'd be so busy with the cat.
What if you got the cat and then you realised, I just got this iPhone to get the iPhone. I don't really want the cat. Then what would you do? What do they do with the cats?
I feel like I feel like we are both underestimating the power of cats.
I think that's something we have to talk in the boardroom about.
Trouble in the boardroom.
Cats. You got something, Shabba? What you got?
Yeah, we're going to give away a pair of tickets for Ryan Adams is playing at the Greek Theater on June 3rd. And so they're going on sale Friday morning.
Geek Theater, yeah.
But we're going to give away a pair right now.
Let's give them away.
June, that's a miles away.
Yeah, but it's going to go on sale. It'll sell out. And so people can get it right now.
Are you on the road? Is that going to be part of you on the road, or is that just
Well, I'll just drive down the street because I live right down the street. So I won't be on. I mean, I'll be on the road, and I'll be on Franklin for probably
10
30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like I could probably run there and back 3 times the amount of time it'll take me if I take Franklin.
I like the Greek. It's a,
I do too.
it's a great place, especially in the summer. It's perfect.
Man, it's that hillside, and I used to live on the other side of that bluff, and I like that vibe right there. It makes a lot of sense, and it's nice and witchy and feels
Yeah.
good, and
It's a good place.
the geek theater is wicked.
How do you want to do the giveaway? Just take a caller number, or do you have a
Oh.
trivia?
Got any trivia ideas?
Oh my gosh,
Do you have a cat?
I have 3 cats.
What are their names? Is that will your fans know that?
I think it should be if you
Jethro Tull?
do you have a cat?
No.
Okay, if you had a cat, if I was the CEO of Apple
Yeah.
and you needed to buy a new iPhone,
Yeah.
so you called me and you'd say, Ryan,
Does this cat have a name?
no, you say you'd say I need a new iPhone, and I'm like, well, you never guess what? It comes with a cat,
A
rescue
nameless cat.
Yeah, and so the caller will have to.
What name would I call the cat?
Yeah, what name
That's
would you
what they
call
have
the
to
cat?
guess.
If they can guess that, and only you would know if it's the right
Yeah.
name. So let's find out what they have to say.
Let's start with W,
The letter W.
end with S.
Hmm.
They have them on their faces, cats.
So how do we pick the winner?
They have to tell
I
me
feel
the
like you
name
just
of my
gave- I feel like you
cat.
just gave it away, though. Come on. What is the second name? Let's just see what they say. Maybe they'll say something interesting.
Okay.
Your second cat. What would your?
My second cat would be called.
No, you can't tell them. That's what they have to answer. to get the
Okay, and
tickets.
I'm not telling the second. If they don't get the first, they'll have to guess the second one.
First person to answer that question gets
Yeah.
the tickets.
What are we doing? We playing some more music,
No, or are
or do
they?
you want to keep talking?
How are we gonna know if they get the tickets?
We're gonna visit the Duke of Kent. We're gonna pay the rent. We're here with Ryan Adams, Jonesy's. You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. That was Status Quo. Caroline was the name of that track. We started off with Rose Tattoo, Nice Boys. I heard that down in Australia, Duff always FaceTimes me, and he gives me the updates on what happens. And I think young Angry Anderson got up and did a song with him a couple of weeks ago when they was in Australia.
Where were they?
I don't know. They're playing massive stadiums. He keeps sending me pictures of the places they're playing.
Wow.
I think they've done Sydney, Adelaide, Perth. They're doing the rounds, man. They're making some bread, big time.
I used to make bread for a living. It
Yeah.
was terrible.
Yeah,
And then I worked in a bread baking factory.
yeah. Not the same, is it? Bread ain't like it used to be.
It's really hard to work in a bread factory, like on like a assembly line kind of thing, if you're
Yeah.
tripping.
Yeah,
It really is.
you're gonna mess up.
I mean, yeah, like after a while, like those weird frozen things of bread, like they all felt like they had different personalities. It got overwhelming, really did. Some of them never made it into the oven where they, the yeast takes hold and they poof up.
You went to some of them you'd like throw because they were like not in your mind, not like a proper loaf of bread. Like some of them had like gangrene.
Before I was let go for that evening, I guess I had started drawing faces into the edges
Into
of
the bread.
They kept me. No one else would work there.
No, well, the big question is, was this bread sliced or was it a whole loaf?
Well, the bread would come down the factory belt.
On the belt.
Yeah, and I would always be spaced out. And so if like they fell off the end of the line and I wasn't paying attention, the guy would always go, "Damage on the belt." I was like, man, that would have been a great name for a record.
Damage on the belt.
Yeah, but my music is just like for sad people, so it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Damage on the, you can't really go like, damage on the belt. Doesn't really sound like correct.
Maybe Whitesnake could do it though.
Man, Whitesnake. Wow. Yes.
What was that album?
Whitesnake, the one with just Whitesnake.
No, the one they did with Sabbath.
Oh, you're
The
talking about
Snot one?
Snot Contusion?
Yeah.
Well, that was just. I mean, I think that was just covered.
Oh, it's just covered out at that point.
Yeah,
This
I mean,
was like when the legs were falling off the rest of it.
I feel like that's well for that period of time. Whitesnake really shed their skin because they lost their singer and they were just on their own.
Yeah.
You know?
The poison had left.
Yeah, they had a record. They were like, "Get Through Hiss."
The
They-
poison was poisonless. It don't matter if they even bit your neck. You wouldn't even swell up.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, Bread is an interesting. Someone should name a band after Bread.
Bread.
There you go.
Bread. Did you ever? I mean, has
Yes.
you did own a record by Bread?
I liked them.
They did a triple album, right? They had they beat everybody and said, "We're not going to make a double album. We're going to make a triple record." That's what I know about Bread.
Really?
Yeah, and then someone told me that they were like yes, but they were like yes if they were no. That's what the
Yeah.
way my friend described Bread.
Yes to Bread.
And I was around bread so much, I was just tired of it. It's like if you ask someone that like makes pizza, do they eat pizza? They're probably like, no way. They're like into broccoli.
Yeah.
They're around it all the time.
I always get tired after Bread.
Do you think that they meant money? Bread? Think that it was that like their name was slang for money? Was that already slang word then for money? Bread.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you think that's what was going on?
It was slang back then. I don't know if that's what they
Why?
meant it.
Why?
what
The,
was
why the
What about that band America? What was that slang for?
USA?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, bread. I never thought about that till right now that they were called money.
Yeah.
I don't.
I think you've tapped into something. There's some conspiracies. Conspiracies.
Conspiracies. Yeah,
Something's going on.
yeah. Well, you know,
Bread.
that's why they made YouTube for conspiracies.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bread. I don't. I couldn't name a bread song. Could you name a bread?
Yeah.
Song? Name
Guitar Man.
Guitar Man. Whoa.
Um,
Is it guitar, comma man?
no, it's actually a tasty song.
Oh man. So I'm gonna have to go get a bread record. What's the bread record to get?
The best of
The
bread.
best of
best
bread.
of money.
The best of bread.
The best of money.
So is that the crust? Should it just be called the crust? No crust.
Should take out the middle bit. You know, I have a book out, and I used to do things with loaves of bread. I have a book that just came out. I'll give you. Do I have a copy? I think I have a copy of it. Would you like a copy of my new book? There's a thing I used to do when
I'm
I was.
afraid it's a trick question.
No,
Okay.
no, I do. But there's a thing I used to do when I was 14.
Is this going to have something to do with the name of your cat?
Instead of using hands, I used to use loaves of bread. This is absolutely true.
Like
Take out the middle.
freshly baked?
Pour in hot water.
Whoa. Wow.
I think that inspired Bread to call their name Bread after that. So they were really called I'm Having a Wank. That was the real name of Bread.
I feel like that you have one-upped Henry David Thoreau, who was definitely,
Who's that?
he was just this guy. He was out in the woods. He had something for trees.
He had a book too.
Oh, he's one of them guys.
He had a book, but whatever.
Did he have a tree?
I don't know. I mean, he definitely would be the kind of guy that had all the bread albums if he had remained alive.
Maybe he had a big trunk too. What are we doing? Are we playing music? I don't know what's happening.
I don't know.
It's
We're on
fun.
the radio.
Yeah.
The radio.
Let's play one of your songs.
Oh, God.
Prisoner.
I'm sorry if everybody that listens to the show and all the great music that's on here that rocks. I'm sorry that we're playing this sad music.
I like that. I love that first song. I saw it. You perform it on. Is it late night?
Yeah.
Fallon. It was great. And I'm like, oh look, he's got a flying V too. He's all right. Let's play Prisoner from your new album, right?
Prisoner from the album Prisoner. Yeah.
Right.